Welcome back to El Niño Maravilloso, part 2 with La X Excelencia. Happy Friday. Today is Friday, February 27th, 2026. I'm Sweets. This is La X, and today we are talking about El Niño Maravilloso, second installment, second album. I think it's
Yeah.
out now. Give
Yeah,
us
it's
an
out.
update on how the project's doing.
Yeah, so that was definitely why I think we should have got together for this call. Breaking news. Yeah, so we released 7 days ago, actually, a week ago, Friday, February 20, album officially out. Did some updates to Maravilla City, just to get the album live on the new release planet so people can listen to it. There's the YouTube embed with the video. So I've been doing these like short music videos for some of the songs on the project, and so those are live in there as well. And then I made a change, I think, to the center planet where the NFT display comes up, but I haven't officially pushed that out. But it just like condensed the display down, kept the what it is like simple, like the definition of it. So that's definitely one change that I guess I would have to like commit and push. I would have gone a little crazier, but I was like, let me do the simple updates like the embeds that we already have on the site. So at least if anyone's curious, they can go on and listen. And there's an additional track on Maravilla City. So when I shared it with people, I said, hey, there's another track on there that is not out on Spotify or any of the platforms.
Can you hear me or am I muted? Yeah, you can hear me.
I hear you. Yeah, I got you. I hear you.
Okay. So you said over here on the center you made updates, but you haven't pushed it yet?
Yeah, I haven't pushed that one specifically, which is just an update to the display. It drops down in size and has a simpler explainer.
But this is new.
Yeah, videos are coming up, and the
And there's a
album is.
whole playlist so I can scroll through the whole.
Yeah, exactly.
Looks like you've got like color stroke
Yeah,
kids.
yeah. That was part of definitely the idea. It was like, how can we keep it simple yet showcase the songs, have the videos up there, and we got more coming. So that whole playlist is dedicated to that. See, that
And you're
one's more.
doing audio.
Yeah, that one's more of a visualizer audio. But I think I'm gonna basically convert that playlist to just the actual music video shorts that I did.
Wow.
But I kind of like the idea of having like BTS and like some process stuff on there. Give people like a specific place to go. Like, yeah, they can go on YouTube, but I think it's cool that they can just click here and I curated a playlist for them right away instead of them
Yeah.
having to dive in and try to find it on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
So
So you say the overall updates you made on here, you added this video embed. On the new releases, you already had the untitled player. So what did you
right,
change on the music player?
I added all the songs from the album. So if people want to go on there, they can listen
Did
to
you have
it.
to do these changes? Did you have to do these changes from the site and the code, or did you do that on untitled?
I did it on Untitled. It was just easier.
Okay.
Yeah, to
Right,
make it.
right.
So everything should
Agreed.
be good.
This is awesome. So what other changes did you make? The videos, the music player?
Yeah, so I wanted to. Yeah, let me see if I can just share screen real quick, and then I can show
Yeah, all
you
stuff.
basically what I want to do. Should be sharing that. So you see the difference in the display. So it doesn't like completely. It's not like the large
Yep.
display. And the explainer is actually, it's more concise about what it is. If people want to go ahead and support the project, they can go ahead and collect the Maravilla Gallery, which is what I shared yesterday. Um, which I'll probably do like a different poster video so people can see like exactly what it is.
Mhm.
This is one of the updates that I actually wanted to push. And then there's a couple other things where they're like unused at the moment. Like the leaderboard, for example.
Like the leaderboard.
We had that
Stacked.
previously.
Rest in
Right.
peace.
Yeah. And like also like this would require like more usage, more users on here interacting on a week to week basis and stuff to use like a leaderboard. But I still think there could be something useful, something interesting to play with on that end. But now, man, it's like, there's so many platforms, right? And you got to find your channel. Like, what's the one channel that's working? And if you direct people, is it a group of people that would actually take the time to go in here and explore, experiment with stuff? So things, you keep learning, you keep thinking about it. But like, it's amazing to see like that we created this experience. The album's officially out. All the single cover arts, like the entire world kind of fully fleshed out now. And then I'm working on a piece to kind of put everything together so people can see the rollout from beginning to end. So from when we launched Maravilla City to the pop-up to the individual song releases to the full album release, and then all the other things I got coming up, like I think that's going to be kind of inspiring for people to see. Like this is a full-on rollout from a micro app mini site around the album to like just fully releasing it. And I think that's going to be probably the most exciting thing to share now that we're officially out there, you know. And then
Yeah,
separately, I
now
think,
you're pushing. Go ahead.
sorry. So, and of course, you know, we've seen creator sentiment just completely crashed in on-chain stuff. So it was kind of hard to, you know, kind of navigate that, even though kind of saw it coming already. You as well, you can feel it, you know, the tension and then the tweets and all the other stuff coming out. So it was about figuring out what is there appetite for some of the things that I have on chain that I'm trying to do on chain. But I feel like if I gravitate towards that, I won't do the things I want to do. And I'm kind of letting everything else kind of dictate it. But it's there's a truth to it as well, right? So navigating that I think is part of being an artist, a creator. So it's not different from, you know, a platform changing the algorithm on you, right? Like that's kind of what happened on chain. It's like the sentiment shifted away from creators to the more trading finance stuff, of course, even though they were kind of trying to connect the two. But yeah, I think that was part of the rollout, right? Like figuring that out. Like what's the next step for creators and artists on chain? Is it more ambitious things instead of like digital drops and collectibles, and is it raising on chain? Is it using the tools and leveraging that aspect of it that doesn't really exist outside of crypto? It does in certain extent, but I think through crypto there could be some interesting ways of either fundraising or coordinating around a bigger project or an entire company. I don't know. That's how I feel right now.
I'm glad we didn't overinvest in the coin. When I don't know if you saw my tweet the other day. I was like, well, I had all this money every week. I was dollar cost averaging into all of the creators across Latin America that I was trying to
Yeah.
support. And then when Zora said they were pivoting, I'm like, well, I used to post my art on Zora, and now if I try to go to those art pages, the links just break.
Yeah.
I don't want the same thing to happen with all that money I put in. And so I started taking it out, and I saw Maravilloso, and I was like, I was just going through the mechanical motion, and I sold all of Maravilloso, and it made
Yeah.
me very grateful that you didn't overinvest on that. It's like you say, you're trying everything,
Right.
you're running with the experiments, but you're not overinvesting to the point where a pivot like that totally wrecks the plan, and then
Exactly.
you have to rebuild from square one. It's like, okay, well, I have a big plan. That was a part of the plan. Now that
Mhm.
they've pivoted, I'm sure well, now that they've pivoted, or I guess with creator sentiment, how has the plan changed? How impacted has it been with the on-chain sentiment dropping, or has that been a minor part of the plan that hasn't really impacted the rollout?
Yeah, you know, to be honest, I feel like it hasn't impacted the rollout just because again, I'm pretty on top of it. Like I'm on the pulse, right? So you kind of see it coming. That's also why I was kind of like one foot in, one foot out. A lot of times because I wanted to explore, I wanted to experiment. I've also previously, like we've talked in this series, is like, you know, I had a creator coin at the time. And even then, you know, I was cautious with how I would tell the story, promote it, market it, you know, whatever it was. You know, I would say, yeah, I'm there. Yeah, you can support me. There's these cool little things that are connected that you can try. But I wasn't like, you know, throw everything in here. And even for myself, right? And a lot of people got burnt doing that. And so like you kind of learn, right? But again, it takes that experience to go through it and then figure it out, use that previous knowledge and apply it moving forward. So I think that helped me. For a lot of people, it was probably NFTs themselves, but because I had a creator coin, it was like creator coin, NFTs. Then we went back to creator coin, so I was already kind of like, this could be interesting, but you know, I'm still going to be cautious because I don't want to burn bridges or relationships, you know, over this stuff, right? Like I don't want to do that. So yeah, I mean, it hasn't impacted the rollout. I was excited about some of the things. I guess as a creative, you kind of find what to be excited about. Literally, you get creative around these things and you explore, you experiment. And I would share things. I'm like, hey, I'm trying this or I'm testing this, or what do you think about this? Does this even make sense? And getting feedback in real time was cool. But you know, you feel, you know, you feel the thing coming, you know, if you're on top of it.
if you're on top of it, I think I agree. You are very much on the pulse where a lot of other artists come and go with the tides. You constantly, you're much, I feel like I don't know any more about it than you do. And if anything,
Right, right.
you have your finger more on the pulse than I do. What, so it's been 7 days since the release.
Yeah,
What have been your observations the past week, or the past 7 days since releasing the project? Kind of what are you paying attention to?
man. So I'm excited about. I'm still as excited about direct to fan as I am. I'm so excited that we move forward with this microsite for the album. Like I want to keep this alive. I want to share it. I think it's incredible. I think it looks great. It feels great. I think a lot of people got inspired by it. So like even though we didn't go on like a crazy run and sales and all these other things, I still find it to be really valuable, useful. And it's still a big part of like my journey, right? Because it's a part of an album. I released it. It's an era, right? Um so it's interesting because like so in my genre, the same day I released, there were like two other albums that dropped, two other really big albums that dropped. And you know, I am independent. I'm not back to like those two projects, but it's still like it was pressure. I was like, damn, like I'm gonna have to really push and share that it's out. And so like people would tag me in the same series of them tagging those other albums. So I'm like, okay, cool. It's not completely lost on my followers or fans that are listening to me as well. They're kind of sharing me alongside these other albums. So that was cool. Again, surprisingly on streaming, some of the songs, like the save to stream ratio was really high. And I thought that was pretty cool. So that's a good, like people are usually looking at like the stream count, but what drew my attention was like, okay, this song has 200 streams, but it has like 70 saves. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty dope. All the Spotify algorithmic playlists are pushing a lot of the songs. So I found that pretty interesting because typically it's like one or two songs, but I found there to be more songs being pushed algorithmically. I thought that was interesting. So at least people are getting that. They're listening. And again, I'm trying to be patient because part of the idea of the rollout was I'm gonna put the project out, but I'm gonna continue to push, promote, market, tell the story of it post release, which is really hard for artists if you're not used to that. I've done it one time before, but this is the time where I'm fully committed to that post release, you know, storytelling and sharing more content and videos and all that stuff. So I got to be patient because I'm like, it just came out a week ago. I have a series of content and videos and stories to tell. So I'm only just getting started in terms of the release, right? And even on the Maravilla City, I've been sharing that alongside. I'm streaming it, but hey, guess what? You could also, you know, go to Maravilla City. There's a new track on there. I might keep adding things to draw more people there so they can experience this. It looks great on mobile. It works on desktop. So it's good that we got it to that place where it's simple, it's digestible, like it doesn't throw people off. There's no onboarding flow that might turn someone off. You know what I mean? Like all those little things, I think it's interesting, and you're kind of giving people a space to play. So I'm still just as excited, honestly. Like I gotta push, right? It's up to me now to really push things and see where I can take it.
So you've got direct to fan microsite. You're still loving that idea. I agree. That's, to me, one of the big things that has been able to separate you as an independent artist is, I mean, I'm in calls with record labels right now, and one of the things we're setting up for them are these sandboxes and telling them like, inside of your sandbox, you have an apps folder. And so now when you're doing a release for X, Y, and Z artist, you can just say, take all the images, everything you know about the release, and build a website for it. And we're trying to make it easy for the big labels to follow in your footsteps of like, you've been working really hard to do it, and now it's getting easier and easier for software to get written. It makes a ton of sense that whatever your project is, whether it's a pop-up, an album, whatever you're doing, to just build a special experience around that. And like you're pushing code to production now, shared alongside two other artist albums is interesting. Like, yeah, you could have gotten washed out with that, but it sounds like people are amplifying you, and like that has created a way for you to be amplified with them. Like if someone's listening to them, they're likely listening to you, and to have all that, like a rising tide raising all three of you in the same kind of breath. Save to stream conversion being high is interesting. I wonder that as well. Like, do pre-saves convert over to streams? It sounds like it has been for you. Which algorithmic playlists have been the most impactful for you so far? Do you get that data of?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's there's the Spotify Radio, Spotify Mix, there's Release Radar, there's Daily Mix. What else did I see? I was sharing this with someone yesterday. And there was one more there that I forgot about that was also pushing the music. So what's interesting about the saves are actually post saves. So it's after the song's released. It's after the song's released more so than pre-saves before the songs released. So I thought that's why it was interesting to me. So it's basically people listening and they're saving it right away. Like they like the song, they want to go back to it, they're saving it, liking it. So like that's why I was like, okay, this is really cool. Like usually I'll see like some saves, streams, but the ratio was really interesting. And yeah, just like it's funny because I feel like in Latin music, in my genre in particular, most people they see one path or maybe two, right? Whereas I'm building towards like a couple different ones. And there's different ways of doing this and different ways of sharing your music and telling your story. And like you said earlier, yeah, not everyone's up to par with, coding and cursor and using AI agents and building all these things out. But like again, the way we're seeing it, that like cost of production time has lowered enough to where you can actually take a risk and a gamble. You won't feel like there's already a few direct-to-fan platforms, but now you could actually make the time and space to create your own little microsite or app. Regardless of your fan base and audience, you're gonna get a lot out of that, right? You're building, you're learning, you're creating, and then you're sharing. And if like the more interesting you make it, I think the more people would be willing to kind of check it out and say like, damn, like there's a lot of different ways that you could approach building an app for your album or even for yourself as an artist. Like I've been thinking about a couple things and I'm like, would people go here? And I'm like, this would be more interesting for people to go visit and stuff. So yeah, like I think that's what's gonna make these next few years a little more interesting. It's like, yeah, maybe you could do the direct to fan platform because they might have more users, buyers, they have a bit of some network effects there. Yeah, they take their percentage, they take their fee, but then you could also build your own little interesting, unique space for maybe 10 of your top 200 fans or something, right? And just invite them in particular. And again, you didn't probably waste months and thousands of dollars doing that. So I think that could be interesting moving forward. And then like even when we did Estrella City, I kept saying like the smart album or albums as apps, albums as software. And now it's a reality. Like now I'm like, okay, I was going down the right path. Like you can literally build an app around your album release instead of like just an artist website showcasing it's informational. Now you can do something for each individual song, album, or whatever in one place. Could be really interesting for independent artists, even the bigger guys, right? So yeah, I saw a quote. So Black Dave shared it on Substack. It was Ben, and he was saying like some independent artists are too small for like direct to fan, and then some major artists are not paying enough attention to it. So something along those lines. There's a lot of truth to it, but then again, going back to the coding, the tools, everything that we're able to do, you can take a chance. Even if you have a small audience, even if no one, 10 visitors in a month, whatever, like you can do something, I think that's interesting to me.
And action produces information. Sometimes you're going to overthink and see Music Ben's tweet and then say, oh, I'm too small to do that. But like you say, the cost to try is so low.
Right.
You might as well take the shot and then, okay, well, now I got data. I see how many people landed on the site. I see how many people reached out to me. And then you can use that to continue to inform instead of just seeing Music Ben's tweet and then not even taking the shot. And then 6 months later, thinking about running the experiment for the first time without a baseline of data. I like that you're building out multiple different paths. And you said like building custom software. It made me think of Duodo. And right now they're planning FarCon Rome. And so they're trying to get their executive producers together. And last time they wanted to get executive producers, they used Seed Club or some crowdfunding platform.
Okay.
And it ranked and highlighted everybody who donated, and there was a donate button. This time they built their own custom version of that. And so you can go on and you can click a button and then you can pay directly using the Farcaster wallet, whatever amount you want. And they're highlighting the executive producers as they pay. And like you say, just like highlight the 10 people that are giving the most and highlight them like they are also following that same path that you're saying. And it makes me feel special as an executive producer. Like I look at that site and I'm like, okay, who else from a social status, how many people have put on more than me if they've donated more as an executive producer. I already know that Udo is going to put me at the top of the list if I'm number one. And so I look at that list and then I say, okay, well, if someone's above me, I'm going to donate more to the project so that I can have that social status as number one. And they've done a great job highlighting the patrons of the project.
Right.
So that way we feel like we want to do that and not just an obligation. I'm curious to hear what are the paths you're building out over the next month. Like you say, a lot of people look at musicians in your industry and they say there's one path, but you say there's multiple paths that you're building out.
Yeah.
You've got 1 week of data.
Mhm.
What are the paths where are you seeing the paths going over the next month?
Yeah, I'm still excited to share, like, yes, while you can listen and support on the traditional or the same platforms, there's these other interesting and exciting things. And so like I felt a pressure to like do everything at once, but it doesn't make sense. Like I literally, again, going back to the patient side, I have an entire month or 2 or 3. I got to build on the momentum as well. So I don't want to stretch it out as much. But what if I decided from today till next week, I focus on Maravilla City, right? Like you heard it on Spotify. You were able to do that on Spotify. Here are a couple of things that you can't do, right? Spotify's more passive listening, albums out, great way to listen, great way to take it in, great way to decide if you're going to listen to it again. But guess what? Like on Maravilla City, I got these other things that you can do or explore or whatever. Same thing if I'm on another direct to fan platform and they want to push me and feature me or something, I can tell that story as well. So I'm excited about that. Sharing different ways, paths. A couple people like hit me up like, oh, this person doesn't really believe that you're doing all these things independently, like someone's behind you or something's behind you and this and that. And I'm like, they have to understand I've been doing it for some time too, so they missed the last 5, 6, 7 years. So like in one, they'll see this and they'll be like, nah, I don't believe that. But it's like, hey, it's been 5 years of just consistency, building, trying, experimenting, failing, ups and downs, right? So again, I think that direct to fan path is interesting. I think again, even like YouTube has a lot of useful features and tools now. So if you have an audience on there, for example, I have people on there that discovered me from my music in the MLB The Show, the video game. So like they'll leave comments. Like I have an entire song where all the comments are literally because of the video game. So like they might be fans of that song. They're not fans of X, but I'll still interact with them, right? Because like I grew up, watching baseball and stuff like that. So again, like there's so many different like audiences and groups, niche, all that stuff. So kind of playing to that, I don't see anything wrong with it. Like everyone's saying, focus on that one channel. And I think there's something there if you have a very specific use case or something like functional that only works on that channel. But I think otherwise, don't limit yourself. Don't think that because you're not doing well on one channel, you can't do well on another. That might be the one you got to focus on, or these two might be the ones, like, and just kind of play with that. So
Is there anything else as we're wrapping up the call that we haven't talked about that you want to highlight, or anything on the tech side or in general about the album rollout?
man, I think we're good. I think we covered a lot. I wanted to share that it was out. I wanted to get on this call with you because you helped me build out Maravilla City. So I thought it was important to, I think I don't know if we didn't have a call last week. So it was
No, I think it's been a month.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought it was a good time to come up and just share that we're out officially and we're going to keep pushing this.
It feels like the cycle is now you're pushing without me even knowing that you're pushing the site. So it feels like this point in your last album, you were needing to tell me and I was needing to do a lot of updates. And this point, you can do things on your own.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm slowly fading out in terms of my need to be hands-on with the project. And the biggest question in my mind is how does our relationship change as a result of you being more capable on the tech side? I don't know if there's an answer for right now, if you have any thoughts, but otherwise just something that I've been thinking about and over the next weeks and months, something I'm curious to see how our relationship changes as a result of you being more capable of doing the implementation on the tech side.
Yeah, I had a podcast with Jamie, Sound of Fractures, and we talked about it, and I mentioned how you handed me the keys to the project close to 6 months after, I want to say we actually started it, just about, or maybe, yeah, something like that. And how like that's very useful for me because I don't know how, it doesn't have to be like those tedious updates. But then I was explaining my AI stack and how I'm still collaborating, right? So I've used generative music things, but I'm still working with my producers, right? Because I know that they have, I think we talked about this, right? Like fundamentally speaking, like they've been doing the production thing, they specialize in that. They've been doing it more consistently than I can produce, I can put things together, I can make things sound great, whatever. And I find it to be the same idea. Like I feel like if I have a really elaborate project, a little more complicated, something I'm not too sure about, like that's a thing where I will reach out, right? Or ask you to collaborate on if you have the time and the availability and stuff like that. What about the I think we also had this conversation on another one where I was sending you references of things that I wanted at one point, and then I was able to go in and actually build those things out with cursor and stuff once it fully developed to a place where I could like actually do things. Um, but I think there's still some interesting ways to collaborate. But again, seeing the shift from um, on-chain creators being kind of pushed to the side, like, hey, that didn't work. Like, I'm curious as well what that would look like. Maybe there's a future where we work on something else that's not creator related. I don't know. Who knows?
Thank you all for tuning in. If you have not already, you can stream Maravilla City on all streaming platforms, as well as on the site maravilla.city. Make sure you give La Keys a follow on any social media site, and we'll see you next time.